Once again, we are here to celebrate Indigenous heritage in Guyana. The month of September brings tremendous excitement and expectations as we celebrate our heritage in a way that represents our existence as Indigenous people. The theme this year, maintaining our traditional practices while promoting a green economy, is most timely and apt as our country is rapidly preparing for our transformation into an oil-rich nation. In addition to the market positive development accompanying this transition are the numerous challenges of a newly developing oil-rich nation. Our newly emerging wealth in no way absolves us from responsibly managing our development in sync with the protection of our environment. This should remain our fundamental goal. This is where we as Indigenous peoples draw attention to our important role in maintaining balance between the natural environment and our country's development. Are we prepared for this task? I believe that as guardians of the environment, whose culture is intricately linked to our national environment, our natural environment, we are now ready to take advantage of the opportunities that are available with the addition of a new and emerging oil sector to our country's already rich natural resources. The green economy, which underlines our Green State Development Strategy, GSDS, illustrates government's commitment and support to ensuring sustainable development for the benefit of all Guyanese and even others. We are on the right path if we remain conscious of the values of our natural environment while undertaking any development that requires the exploitation of our resources. Our freshwater resources and our pristine forests are among our most valued resources. Therefore, it is imperative that we find a way to manage these resources while making full use of the opportunities to develop our communities. With prudent management of our resources, there will be no need to choose between development and conservation. Strategic development is critical if we are to embrace the reality of life, where we need facilities to accommodate training, where information can be absorbed and applied to everyday life. I urge you to take advantage of the tremendous opportunities that our transformation brings. I'm not suggesting that you abort your cultural way of life. Instead, use the resources that will be available to advance training and techniques to refine your natural skills for the development of your villages and communities. Hard, calculated work should be the key factor to sustainable development. We should not have the misconceived idea that with oil we do not need to work. Protecting our ecosystems requires diligence, and work becomes much more challenging now to protect the ecosystems and all our natural resources. It is in our best interest to continue a path of agriculture that protects crop species, and let wisdom and caution guide you in getting into the genetically modified organism, the GMO type of agriculture. This practice is not if this practice is not properly managed, it could result in the loss of our original species and additional cost of having to buy seeds and plants. We should instead strive for balance in preserving our species by developing nurseries for the preservation while cautiously experimenting with GMOs. We should think about our special agricultural produce, that of the cassava. I can tell you that there are signs that these species, their various cultivars, are being lost. We need to protect them. That is the food that has brought us to this day in Guyana. We heard the Tushao with land rights. This is quite true, but we have not given up. Our land rights is multifaceted, and while it is important that our policymakers understand the value of space for other forms of life to survive, it is also important that indigenous peoples understand that all Guyanese have a right to share in the distribution of our resources. We need to find a middle ground where we embrace this reality. Many villages have been applying for land extension with no clear vision outlined as to how the land will be used. There are some villages that have not even begun to adequately occupy the land they possess, but are applying for more. Then there are those that have outgrown their land space. Let us firstly justify our need for land extension, showing how and what plans are in place to utilize the additional land. Claims for ancestral lands, which our foreparents used from time immemorial to hunt, fish, and farm, now need to be supported by a village improvement plan, defining plans for the use of occupation of the land. What do you do with the land? Your VIPs are important in identifying development that are needed. It is only you who will be able to know what your most valuable resources are and what kinds of project will be benefiting to you. We have to be able to understand what we have so that we could better plan. We have to be able to develop a land management plan to keep us properly organized so that 100 years from now, we would still be able to have our lands bringing benefit to us. The protection of the species, the protection of pure water, the forest, and the protection of us. We are not out to deprive you of your land. Instead, we are encouraging efficient land management of our resources in a country with a growing population and rapid economic development. Our development hinges on our ability to efficiently manage and sustain our resources. In almost every village, there is an abundance of natural resources. However, our development path should take into account our importance as indigenous peoples, and therefore, any project within our community should be modeled, managed, and protected by us, especially as it relates to sustainable development and the protection of our environment. Take, for example, what plans do we have for the growing population? What plans do we have for the pressure on the forest of hunting and fishing and farming? What plans do we have for appropriate education for our young people so that we could have our villages well organized and be in a position to be there for many, many moons to come? We should recognize the value and uniqueness of our tourism product. As was said by Tushao Hastings, We have earned the space, the #1 space in ecotourism. We cannot put a price on our culture, our flora and fauna. People pay to see and experience these things. We should explore means of exploiting these resources with little or no cost to Mother Nature. This is possible if we have the vision to protect us. We could have a livelihood from that very environment that we have. We could have benefits. We don't have to destroy the natural resources. This is one way we can earn a living. We remain committed to the rights of Indigenous peoples and are in the process of revising and strengthening the Amerindian Act. It's a work in progress so that we could strengthen the things that we need to be strengthened, to have that recognition and to be able to be part of the development of this beautiful country of ours. Indigenous peoples believe in unity. Unfortunately, division and disunity are prevalent among the leadership in many villages today. And this is due to politics, religion, or other factors. I'm hopeful that our village leaders will strive for a higher level of maturity and professionalism in executing their mandate and building relationships with their communities. It is also important that proper accountability be exercised for the resources that are made available to you. Now may be the time to consider employing an accounting officer in your councils so that proper accounting could be done and proper use. We'd have value for money that is handed down to you. I must say that, having said that, some leaders are very, very hard-working and they're getting things in place slowly but surely, and we are very encouraged by that. We need to resort to our healthy eating habits. We know that cancer is one of the greatest killers of recent in the indigenous communities. And if you go to the research, you will see what is happening. Only a few days ago, a good friend of mine passed away with cancer, and that has been happening over the years we are here, and we are working towards it, but the communities also have to understand the value of putting their best foot forward in the health of their communities. Today, we have available to us all the opportunities for training and education that would help to refine the skills that are rooted in the spirit of indigenous peoples as it relates to caring for their natural environment. This should never be taken lightly. Government is providing technical training centers throughout the country, and we are very, very happy for that. We have been working for this. We have seen the results of this CSEC this year. It has grown. We are so proud of all those who have made it possible, especially the hard-working ministers in the various ministries, the teachers, the administrators, the parents. We are so happy that we are seeing a movement forward on the way to the good life. I would like to also say that we have embarked upon helping our young people through the support of the Hinterland Employment Youth Service. This is gaining momentum. We are so happy to be able to help those young people in the communities, especially a lot of single parents, single mothers who have welcomed this and is making good use of it. This is the type of support that the government is giving. I would like to say that I would like you to think for a moment, just think for a moment of the countries around us, Venezuela, Brazil, Suriname, and even the Atlantic Ocean, where there is traffic into Guyana. We must be conscious of this and help to plan and to give advice and to work together for the development of this beautiful country. I'd like you to think about the fire that is in Brazil, in the Amazon. I'd like you to help to pray and help to ask the great Creator for this to stop, because we wouldn't like to have something like that in Guyana. Guyana is such a beautiful country, and we need to protect it. I would like to say that the Amazon basin refers to the drainage of the Amazon and its tributaries, while Amazonia refers to the bigger region bounded by the Guyana Shield in the north, Andes in the west, and the Brazilian Shield in the south. I'm saying this for you to understand that when Mr. Stephen Campbell requested land, fought for lands for the indigenous peoples, it was for this time in our history. It is for this time that we are in this situation. And I would like to say that it's the oil that I am making mention of. And that, although people have said that, we are not going to manage the oil properly, we have a good opportunity in the experience of other oil-rich countries. We have the experience and the example of Norway. And Norway, if we check it out, Norway became an independent nation in 1905, and they hit oil in 1969. We became an independent nation in 1966, and we have hit oil. Almost 53 years, and we are sort of parallel. So we have an opportunity to learn and not to repeat the mistakes that they have done. We could learn from, no need to reinvent the wheel. And we have a country with a government, with a president, with that vision. We've been able to set up, and he's going to tell you more of that, the Sovereign Wealth Fund. It is a time for us as indigenous peoples, the NTC, to get involved, to find out what is happening, get a team to follow what is ours. The natural resources, we must be there. We can no longer sit in the mountains or the rivers and the hills and complain. We need to be part of and parcel of the process of development. And the opportunity is here. With this government, everything and anything is possible. Ladies and gentlemen, I sound like I'm quarreling here, but I just wanted to send this message that we have done a lot of things, and that is why we must celebrate. We worked hard, and we must celebrate hard. To you, to each and every one of you, I wish you well, and please find your friends and come and enjoy yourselves. We have all that you need right here in this compound. And to your families, to your friends, I would like to thank you so much for being able to be out here and to celebrate with us. To all and every Guyanese, we need your support to build this country. Thank you very much.